Hi everybody, Captain L speaking with your training tips designed to help make you a better, more knowledgeable flight simmer, pilot, or aviation enthusiast. Have a seat, let's strap in and stow the HUD and see what is on the horizon for today. Our briefing today will cover the electronic flight instrument system. We're looking at the PFD, the primary flight display, and we're looking at the FMA portion of the PFD, or the flight mode annunciations. The mode control panel allows us to make selections for the autopilot and/or flight director system. You can think of the mode control panel as this is what I wish to do, but it doesn't necessarily tell me whether I have an active mode or an armed mode, or whether a mode engaged at all. I have to look at the FMAs to determine that. The flight mode annunciations will tell me this is what I actually have. This is where we verify the modes. The FMAs are located on the top portion of the PFD. There's three areas to the FMAs. All the way to the left would be the auto throttle modes. Right in the center would be roll modes, and then just to the right would be pitch modes. Just below the FMAs would be the autopilot flight director engaged status. Green would indicate that a mode is engaged. White would indicate a mode is armed. And a green attention box shows around a mode when it's a new mode. It's there for 10 seconds. It gives you a chance to see what it is. It calls your attention to it, and then the green box will disappear after 10 seconds. Again, auto throttle on the left, roll mode in the center, pitch mode on the right. These are some of the annunciations you can have for the auto throttle system. You can have thrust reference, speed, thrust, hold, and idle. We'll talk more about what these mean in the auto flight section of the briefings and the training. For roll modes, you can have heading select, LNAV, which stands for lateral navigation, heading hold, TOGA, which is takeoff go around, ATT, which is attitude, LOC, which is localizer, B/CRS, which is back course, and rollout. FAC is particular to the 747-8. The base aircraft here we're talking about is the 747-400. So it's mentioned here as a mode, but it's really only found in the -8. FAC stands for final approach course. Pitch modes would be VNAV speed, flight level change speed, VNAV altitude, altitude, V/S, which is vertical speed, VNAV path, G/S, which is glide slope, flare, and TOGA, which is takeoff go around. Again, particular to the -8 would be G/P, which is glide path. We won't be talking about that in our auto flight section because we're looking at the base aircraft we're using, which is the 400. In the future, of course, there will be some briefings on 747-8, 777, 757, 767, and 787. For the autopilot flight director engaged status, you can have command, CMD. Some airplanes will say A/P for autopilot. The 747-400 will say CMD command. If an autopilot's not engaged, you'll have FD for flight director when you're hand flying the airplane. And if you have multiple autopilots engaged during auto land, you'll see land 3. Or if a component degrades, you'll see land 2. Or if two components degrade, you'll see no auto land. So these are some of the annunciations you can see on your autopilot flight director engaged status. Let's take a look at the virtual simulator, and we'll look at some of the modes on the FMA. Here we are getting ready for takeoff. And again, the auto throttle mode is blank. The roll mode is toga engaged. Pitch mode is toga engaged. LNAV is armed in white. VNAV is armed in white. LNAV and VNAV, we've pushed the push buttons here. The light bar is illuminated. That doesn't tell us anything. Where it tells us something is over here. It tells us it's armed. LNAV and VNAV are armed. We're starting the takeoff roll now. And the airspeed is coming alive at this point. You'll notice we pushed the auto throttle toga switch. We got thrust ref at 65 knots. It goes to hold. Green attention box for 10 seconds to tell us it's a new mode. Here comes V1. Our rotate. There goes V2. With a positive rate, we'll get the gear up. 50 feet, LNAV's going to engage. You can see it just took over there. LNAV engaged, green attention box for 10 seconds. 400 feet, VNAV is going to engage. VNAV just engaged. We got thrust reference, VNAV speed, change in auto throttle from hold to thrust reference, change in pitch from toga to VNAV speed. We get above our acceleration height. We start to accelerate for flap retraction, and we go to flaps 5. Notice we've engaged the autopilot in command, so we had a green box around the autopilot flight director engaged status. Again, the light bar just tells us that we pushed the switch. We have to look here to verify that an autopilot is in command. We continue to retract flaps to flaps 1. And as we continue to accelerate, when we reach flaps up, we'll go to flaps up. We're on the SID departure, so we're approaching NEZIG intersection. NEZIG, we're supposed to cross at or above 4, so we've done that already. On our way to 6. As we approach 6,000 feet, we'll see the modes change. There they go. The auto throttle went to speed, and the pitch mode went to VNAV alt. Green attention box around there for 10 seconds because they're two new modes. We change from thrust reference to speed, and we change from VNAV speed to VNAV alt as it captured the 6,000 foot altitude. We're passing NEZIG now, so the SID departure has us turning right to a 070 heading for vectors. That's all programmed in the FMC. And the airplane is doing that automatically in LNAV. As we continue to make the turn, ATC is going to give us a vector for on course. And so they'll tell us to turn right to a heading of 120. And so we'll take the heading bug and we'll spin it to 120. And then we'll go into heading select. When we do that, we'll see the FMA change from LNAV to heading select. Here goes the heading bug to 120. And then we need to change the mode from LNAV, so we'll push heading select. When you push heading select, you'll get the heading select mode, green attention box for 10 seconds. And the airplane turns the shortest direction to a heading of 120. So again, my eyes are always looking at the FMAs to see what I'm doing in thrust, what I'm doing in roll, and what I'm doing in pitch. Now we're going to climb to 8,000 feet. We've set 8,000 in the MCP. We're going to push the altitude selector to make the airplane climb. And now we see thrust reference VNAV speed, two new modes because we are resuming the VNAV climb from 6,000 to 8,000. And lastly, we'll look at the autopilot flight director engaged status. Remember, that can say command, that can say FD for flight director, that can say land 3, land 2, no auto land. And it would do that on approach. But what I'll do here is disconnect the autopilot just to show you the change in the autopilot flight director engaged status. So if I disconnect the autopilot, you'll notice we have FD now, green attention box around there for 10 seconds telling us that we've changed the flight director status. Okay, that completes our discussion of the FMAs. We'll learn more about exactly what they mean when we look at the auto flight section and we talk about the roll, pitch, and thrust modes. Let's lower the HUD. Let's go flying. Till our next briefing, keep the blue side up. Captain Al, out.